Well, I think it's gone through spurts. As a kid, I was really shy, nervous, and scared of most things, and then it kind of like shot up on a gradient, and I became very like anti being scared. So I started doing everything that made me scared, and there was like there's an attitude. So okay, I was just in Turkey jumping out of balloons, right? And it was a really scary experience. It's been a long time since I've been that scared of something. Because the altitude's low, the landing area is full of rocks, you never jump a balloon, you know, you don't know where it goes, it has no steering, like there's a lot of factors. And I was there with a friend of mine who is a very successful investment banker, he's a finance guy. And he was really nervous, and when he got down, he said, you know, my mom's not going to be happy that I did that. And I said, yeah, but you know, like the same attitude that got you jumping out of this balloon is the exact same attitude that had you doing an all-in when the stock crashed a few years, because he did this, he put all his money into to this one company when it crashed. And then, you know, he made a lot from it. It's the same attitude that got him jumping out of a balloon as it did putting all his money into something that had just crashed. It's that like ability to see through all the immediate fear and move forward regardless, because you have a conviction over what's about to happen. And I've noticed in periods of my life where I've let people influence me to do less risky things and to go on less adventures, that my ability to do good work gets hindered, because suddenly I start, you know, to do good work you have to be willing to do something stupid or do something that might not work or do something that you might get hurt on, etc., etc. And it's a muscle. Like if you don't train it, it slowly starts to erode. You start to become a little bit flat in everything you do. So I now take it as like a part of my work that I have to, or a part of my life in general. Like I have to go do things that scare me, and they can't be things I've previously done. I have to find new things to keep myself alive, to keep that little sparkle in my eye, where it doesn't really matter what you put in front of me, I'm gonna figure out my way through it, kind of thing. I don't know.
That's amazing also to deal with stress. I think that...
To deal with stress, to be calm, to also be able to think slow when things are moving fast. To be able to breathe and go, okay, you got 10 seconds to figure this out before it all goes wrong. You can take 2 of those seconds just to breathe. And then you got 8 seconds left to fix it.
A really good approach, you know, and I love also the way when you bring a character to life, like with, I don't know, Sanji in One Piece, you decide to do your own stunt, like Tom Cruise. You're Tom Cruise, you do they say, how much was important to you also to bring that aspect? Because I really know the character used just the legs, you know, for example. How much was important not to have somebody that helped you in that and do all, how much gives you as an actor the possibility to explore even more the character?
Yeah, no, it was extremely important to me, and to everyone's annoyance, or to a lot of people's annoyance. It's a lot more difficult for an actor to insist that they want to do it all. I mean, when you're Tom Cruise, you can kind of do whatever you want. When you're not Tom Cruise, you have to. It's not as easy. When you say, I want to do all my stunts, people look at you. They're like, all right, cool, buddy. That's a fun story. But no.
Maybe some years.
Maybe some point in your life, maybe not. But that's kind of and you really have to earn your spot on each stunt. And sometimes you have to argue your way into certain stunts. Like there was some that happened in the second season that I can't talk about, that I really want to talk about, that would, you know, I wish I could say something. There was a couple of situations that were exponentially scarier and that had exponentially more tangible danger to them than the first time around. I think that's probably as much as I can say without getting into trouble. But that I had to really debate and argue my way into. And for me it's supremely important, because I look at it like this. If I it takes us 7 months or 8 months to shoot a show like that. That's most of my year on Earth that year. So if I'm 28 when I'm shooting the second season, my 28th year on Earth is forever going to have been spent doing that, and pretty much just that. So if I'm spending a whole year almost of my life painting a picture, only for somebody else to come in the final hour and say, but let me paint the corners. It kind of feels like, no, bro, I think I've put enough of my life and self into this that I should get to at least, meritocratically choose first what I want these corners to look like. Now, if my double is able, and that's the rule we always have, or at least the rule I've instilled around me when I'm doing this work, is if my stunt double, if I can't do it as well as my stunt double, and the character is going to suffer because I'm doing it not as well, instead of just letting my stunt double do it, then my stunt double gets to do it. If that's not the case, then I do it, and I always have a shot. They always have to give me a shot at doing it. There's only been 2 instances where I've been doubled, and there was no amount of arguing that would get me into it, and it was one where I got pulled, there was like a wire pull into a table, and I mean, there's skill involved, but it's less of a skill thing and more of a, do you want to take the edge of a table to your back kind of thing? And I still wanted to do it, and I still argued for it. And then the debate was like, dude, even Tom Cruise has a double Sorry, my bad. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. So I got doubled on that and something similar. And there was a stunt coordinator called Gary Powell, who's done a lot of great movies that involve stunts, a bunch of Marvel stuff, a bunch of Star Wars's. I worked with him on a film called Cleaner, and the same thing. I had to like earn my stripes with him from zero. And at one point, I was peppering him so much about wanting to get on this one stunt. He was like, "Stop it! You're worse than Tom Cruise!" and stormed off. I love Gary though. Gary's a good guy.
You can see the passion and the effort that you put, in all your characters. And we are here at the Comic-Con, so you have to face with the fans, also about the comics, about Sanji and the verse. They all loved your performance. And I was thinking about, we are European, this is the first version of the most important Comic-Con from US here in Europe. How much is important this, and how much do you think the anime culture, the pop culture, like now at the cinema, the box of Demon Slayer? Have you watched that?
I haven't watched it yet,
but people are like crazy about that. So the pop culture is definitely something that now also the media have attention on. So how much is important to you to bring this aspect through your work and to talk about that?
Well, I think it's bless them. I can feel them cornering. I'll answer this one really quick. The Comic-Con was the first part of the question, and I think it's incredibly special that something like this is making its way over to Europe, because we don't really have the culture of making things large. We have the culture of doing things, but it's always like Europe-sized. And I love that something American-sized is making its way over here. And it means a lot to me personally that American-sized iconic thing is making its way to Spain. Because like Spanish language, to me, some of the best European films and TV shows, stories coming out of Europe are Spanish. I think they're so brilliantly told, the writing is brilliant, the actors are amazing, and I'm just really happy that it's coming to this part of the world, and that Spanish isn't an obstacle, whereas forever I thought, being Spanish, being Italian, being French, is kind of a little bit of an obstacle, whereas it feels like that is very much breaking down. And I used to come to Conil, which is also in Andalusia, when I was little, to surf. So it just, I don't know, it feels surreal that this is happening here.
Last question. You're already portrayed Sanji. Do you have another anime characters that you would like to bring to life?
Trigun. I want Trigun.
Netflix. That would be perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate you.